The dynamic between Arthur Morgan, John Marston, and Micah Bell is one of the most compelling aspects of Red Dead Redemption 2, highlighting the complexities of loyalty, morality, and the unraveling of the Van der Linde gang. Each of these three characters represents a different philosophy and approach to life as outlaws, which leads to tension, conflict, and eventual tragedy. Arthur is loyal yet morally reflective. John is determined and pragmatic, and Micah is selfish, manipulative, and increasingly dangerous. Examining their interactions provides deep insight into the narrative and the psychological underpinnings of Rockstar's storytelling. From the beginning, Arthur's role as Dutch's enforcer and the gang's second-in-command positions him as a stabilizing force, often mediating between John and Micah. John, having returned to the gang after previous estrangement, is pragmatic and increasingly focused on family and survival, rather than the gang's grandiose ideals. Micah, in contrast, thrives on chaos and manipulation, sowing discord among the members. Early missions reveal these dynamics subtly. Arthur notices Micah's arrogance and tendency to provoke, while John's cautious nature and desire to avoid unnecessary violence contrast sharply with Micah's recklessness. These differences are the seeds of later conflict, showing how Rockstar layers character development through both dialogue and mission design. A pivotal moment illustrating their complex relationships occurs during heist missions and gang confrontations. Micah's interference often escalates violence unnecessarily, putting both Arthur and John at risk. For example, in the Valentine missions and the St. Denis bank robbery, Micah's arrogance and lack of foresight clash with Arthur's calculated approach and John's practical thinking. Arthur frequently acts as the intermediary, attempting to prevent Micah from pushing situations into chaos while still maintaining the gang's cohesion. This balancing act highlights Arthur's leadership qualities and moral awareness, contrasting with Micah's selfishness. John, meanwhile, serves as a mirror for Arthur. He embodies what Arthur could become if he loses his moral compass entirely, or chooses self-preservation over loyalty. The tension escalates further as Dutch's idealism begins to collapse under pressure from law enforcement, rival gangs, and internal betrayal. Micah exploits this instability, ingratiating himself with Dutch while subtly undermining Arthur and John. This manipulation culminates in the train heist and subsequent desertion scenarios, where Arthur begins to fully recognize Micah's threat to the gang's survival. Here, Rockstar emphasizes moral ambiguity. Arthur's choices and dialogue options allow players to witness his frustration, disillusionment, and strategic thinking in navigating the growing chaos. John, by this point, increasingly prioritizes his family and personal survival, signaling a divergence in the characters' paths. A particularly significant sequence occurs near the gang's collapse in the mountains and at Beaver Hollow. Micah's betrayal becomes undeniable, and Arthur must confront the reality that Dutch has been swayed by Micah's manipulation. Arthur's attempts to reconcile Dutch's original ideals with Micah's influence illustrate the tragic unraveling of the gang, where loyalty, morality, and friendship are tested against greed, ambition, and self-interest. Arthur's interactions with John in these moments are poignant. He attempts to protect John, provide guidance, and warn him about Micah, showing his deep sense of responsibility and evolving morality. John's responses underscore his resilience and growing independence from Dutch's deteriorating leadership. Throughout the game, the Arthur-John-Micah triangle serves as a microcosm of Red Dead Redemption 2's broader themes: the inevitability of change, the consequences of choices, and the moral ambiguity of survival in a world where lawlessness and order constantly collide. Micah embodies the destructive influence of unchecked ambition and immorality. Arthur represents the moral conscience and reflective loyalty, and John symbolizes pragmatic endurance and the hope for redemption beyond the gang's influence. This interplay creates tension-filled missions, rich dialogue, and emotionally impactful narrative arcs, leaving players with lasting impressions of friendship, betrayal, and tragedy. The climax of this dynamic occurs in the final confrontations at Beaver Hollow and the epilogue. Arthur's confrontation with Micah, whether in the canonical ending or the variations influenced by player choices, serves as the culmination of months of tension and betrayal. It's a powerful narrative moment where Arthur's honor, foresight, and morality are pitted directly against Micah's selfishness and cruelty. John's presence underscores the generational shift. He survives to carry the gang's legacy forward, tempered by Arthur's guidance and Micah's warning of the perils of corruption. This resolution not only defines the fate of the characters, but also solidifies the game's central exploration of loyalty, consequence, and the cost of a life outside the law. In conclusion, the interactions between Arthur, John, and Micah are a masterclass in character-driven storytelling. Rockstar carefully constructs each character's personality,